Hello and welcome to the second module of our full HTML and CSS course. In the first module, we talked about HTML and touched some of essential concepts like DevTools, code editor setup, shortcuts, some tips and tricks in web development. We also covered many important fundamentals about how the web works. Now, in this module, we're going to talk about CSS. We will start with the CSS fundamentals and some overview about CSS properties and selectors. By the end of the section, you will have a solid foundation for creating great looking and stylish websites. So let's just get started. Don't forget to check out our reference website where we have documented everything we talk about inside the videos. This website will help you for summarization and also for the accessibility of our videos. Alright, so I'm going to create a new file here and I'm going to call it style.css. Every CSS file will have this extension called CSS. So this is going to be our CSS file. So this is the syntax of CSS. It's going to have a selector and then it has like property here with the value with a semicolon at the end. So like this. Let's say we want to style an H1 element. So we're going to say H1. We're going to select the H1. Then we're going to say color and then white. This is going to be the selector, this is the property, and this is the value. So we selected the color of the HTML element for H1 to white. VS Code here provides us a lot of tools. Like you can see, it provides us syntax highlighting and it knows that the property is not valid here. So I'm going to comment this and you can see the comments in CSS is like this. And the shortcut for that, as we talked about in HTML, is Control or Command /. Here you can see we can change the color, what other properties are available. So these are all VS Code features. And as you can see, whenever I hit Control S to save, it formats the code. All right, so let's go ahead and use this style in our HTML. Let's go back to the HTML file, go live, and now it will automatically open this tab for you, which is running on this port. And we have this H1 element. We have a couple of ways to include CSS in our HTML file. One way is to directly include the CSS inside the style attribute for the HTML. For example, let's go ahead and say like color white, like that. And if I check out this one, you can see it's gone. Well, it's not, it's there. The color is white. If I change the color to red, you can see it turns red. And this is the styles. This is the way that CSS gets applied to the HTML and we can style the structure. Now we can do many stuff. We're not focused on styles and properties. We will explore them later. We want to see how we can include CSS inside HTML right now. Another way is to create a style block inside the head element. So I can create a style block like this, exactly like what we had here, paste it here. Like we select the H1 and then we add it, right? Temporarily, I'm going to remove this and I'm going to turn this one to something like lemon green or something. So this is another way that we can style. And of course, the best way here is to include the CSS in another file and then somehow bring that file here. And to do that, we should use the link element. So I'm going to remove this and I'm going to create a link element here. And you can see the type is style sheet and this came from VS Code itself. So let's go ahead and remove this. If I create a link, you can see it has this link CSS. Click on that, it's going to bring this styles. And the href is automatically set to style.css as default. We can put // and select the file. Right now it's style.css. And this way it will import the style.css. In VS Code, if you control or command and click, it will jump to that file. So right now, if I check the tab, you can see the color is this reddish, which is coming from here. Now I'm going to collapse my sidebar here and drag this to the side. So this way we have the view of both HTML and CSS. All right, so I'm going to change the color to something yellow and hit save. You can see it automatically applies here. And this is the beauty of this extension that we have here, live server. that reloads the HTML on any changes that we have. Let's go ahead and add a p tag here, and I'm gonna say style this paragraph tag like that. And now if we want to style this p tag, all we have to do is select the p, open this curly braces, and then add the style. Let's turn it to blue. There you go. You can see we have the styles for the H1, and then we have the styles for this one. Cool. Now, the element selection is not the only way to select an element. Let's say we want to turn the both H1 and the p tag to red. Well, one way is to select the both and turn them into red. So I'm going to make it red like this, and then bring it here. So this way we turn both to red. But this is not cool. What if we had 100 different p tags, right? So another way to select elements is by class names. So class name is a new attribute that we haven't talked about yet. It is like a general attribute that we can put on every HTML element. It is exactly like the ID, where we could add ID on every HTML element. And for the value, we can add everything we want. I want to add a class of reddish, right? And then I'm going to add the same class here, reddish. Now, instead of selecting both elements, we can select that class where we have on all elements. Now, for selecting the class, we should add a dot before that. So it's going to be like dot reddish. And this means, as you can see, it says that element with the class of reddish. This is important. So I'm going to add color red this way. So I'm going to comment these two blocks for now and check the page. You can see both are red. So this way we can add styles to more than one element with the class. So right now, as you can see, we have multiple ways to add CSS styles. So which one should we pick? Which one should we go with? Let's go ahead and bring these two here as well. So styles for the H1 and styles for P. And now we have styles for this class. The class selector has higher priority than the block element selector. This color overrides these two. And if we go back to the HTML and add a style here, and let's say I want to set the color to violet, right? Like this. You can see the H1 turns violet. And the reason for that is because the inline selector, the style that you put directly in the HTML, has the highest priority among other selectors. After that, it's this class one. Well, let's talk about the ID as well, because ID is something unique. So let's go ahead and say heading. Now to select the ID like the class one, for the ID, we should use hashtag. So I'm going to say hashtag heading, and then add the color. Let's go with aqua. Get back here. Nope, it's still this violet color. Well, the reason for that, as we talked, is because this inline style has the highest priority. If I remove that, you can see it turns into aqua, or this color. So this element here picks up the ID style. So ID has higher priority than the class. And if I remove this, it will go back to the green one that we have on here. If I remove this, it's going to go red from here. So right now, as you can see, it's the inline style that has the highest priority, then the ID, then the class, and then the block. Cool. Before finishing this video, we need to talk about two simple concepts quickly. First is that there's a flag called important that jumps over the style conflict or style priority line. So what that means is that right now you can see this heading has the color from this selector, right? So the ID selector has the higher priority. But what if we want to still use this one? Well, in that case, we can add the flag called important, and it starts with this exclamation mark and then important. This way, you can see the title turns red, even though we have higher priorities down here, but it still picks up the block element styles because of this flag. Now, this will bring chaos into your system. If you add some exceptions into your rules, it will definitely break your system. So I highly recommend you never use this at all. It exists, but it's better to not touch it. And you can also check out the DevTools, by the way. You can see we have these colors that there's a line through or there's a line over them, and it just shows that they're not getting applied. So if I deselect this, it gets back to this one, and if I deselect this, it jumps here. DevTools is also a good place to debug and actually play with the CSS. By the way, sometimes it's really cool. You change something here. For example, I changed this color and then copy the code from here and paste it inside the CSS. So this is a cool way of playing with CSS in DevTools. And the second thing that we need to talk about before finishing this video is called inheritance, meaning styles from parent elements will be passed down to children. Now, let's imagine that we have a div element here, right? And this div has style for itself, like color, let's go with brown, right? And right now you can see there's nothing happening here. But if I remove the color for P, if I comment that, also comment this one that adds styles to the P tag, you can see it turns brown. And the reason it turns brown is because it picks up the style from its parent element. So this is called inheritance, that this element inherits the styles of its parent element. So if I move this element out of the block, you can see it's black, but if I move it inside the block, it picks up this brown color and turns brown. In DevTools, if I select that, and if I go to its style, you can see it says inherited from div. And if I click on div, it jumps to the div. Now, beautiful. So it's not that much complicated. I recommend you checking out the reference website if you want to review, because it might seem confusing, but it's not that much complicated, honestly. All right, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.